Okay, back on with the action. Fans Pulse Lap 2 of Episode 2, with the AGM now behind us, thankfully. We're very much in that space where preparations are now gathering pace ahead of the new season starting in March. That doesn't seem so far off suddenly. Let's try then and keep ourselves up to pace with all the news since last week. Just before we start, I'm looking at the camera positions. I look like I look like Ronnie Corbett compared to you. I'm going to stand for this. I don't know what's happened with the camera. Right, so diving straight in then. First off, the AGM itself and the overall sense of what lies ahead for 2026. As you recall, the BSPL press release last week was published 2 hours or less before we recorded the episode last week. So we didn't have a great amount of time to fully absorb all of the information that came out. We did cover most of the key points, I think, on last week's episode. Guys, I just wanted to ask Robbo, Crabby, 1 week on, you've had a chance to maybe read some more about it. You'll have detected some comments from those involved in the sport and from supporters, etc. Robbo, any views a week on in terms of what we're facing into for 2026?
I don't really know, really. It's I've not had a great deal of chance to look at it. I've actually got it on my phone now in front of me, just looking at quick flick through, and it's saying 37-point limit for 6 riders, completed by a Rising Star. So, did we know about the point limit last week? I know we knew with the Rising Star, but
I think we knew about it, but I don't think we touched on it specifically.
Yeah,
so you're right. The Premiership, the top 6 have to be built to 37 points, and then the Rising Star on top of that. So I'm not actually sure, Robbo, I'm not sure how that compares to last season. I don't know if that's the same or whether it's a dilution or an improvement. So guys, if you're watching this, just keep us straight. Let us know whether that is in any way different to the Premiership construct for 2025.
Yeah, let's see, they've got rid of the what's it called, heat as well. The if it's a draw after the end of the meet, I forgot what it's called. Super heat, is it?
Super heat, that's the one.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that last week. That's gone. So now, if it's a draw, it's just a point each per team. So I don't know what the reasoning for that is. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I guess that super heat was great for the crowd to watch. I don't know if it's part of a cost-cutting exercise because riders would need paying for that as well, and it could be that. I don't really know. I don't know what's happened there, but it adds a little bit of excitement to the end of the meet, doesn't it? When you got the super heat. So I don't know.
It's always one of those things, Rob. When you read, year on year, when you read some of the changes to the rules and regs, etc., the BSPL they never really publish any rationale for changing it. So sometimes someone will slip up and mention it in an interview, and you think, that's the reason for it. But is it to save costs? Is it just to make to give the away team a bit more of a more reward for the efforts in securing an away draw? I don't know what the real reason is, but I've not got any particular issue with it personally. But I take your point. The superheat is always super exciting by nature.
Yeah. Yes. I'm just quick flicking through what the changes are. I mean, I don't really. Is it going to affect anything much?
Nigel, anything, Nigel, that you've detected or that we didn't touch on last week that you're now aware of?
Well, I think one bit of really good news to come out of what I've read this week is Matt Ford's back in at Poole. He's must be back in the country, and he's going to be more involved at Poole, which I think. I mean, you'll have to put Glasgow, won't, obviously. No, I don't mean that, Derek. I just think I'm reading just the same as everybody else is reading. Maybe it could go to one league the year after. I don't know if it means this year, the year after. I think it's going to be a very trying year this year, whatever happens. But with what Poland are coming out saying one thing and another, I think British Speedway's maybe missed the boat a little bit. But let's hope. And I do believe Matt Ford will be a big instigator in things, what happens from now on, if he's back involved. people don't like him, but nobody likes successful people, do they? They don't like success. Nobody likes success. I think Matt Ford may be a big instigator in what happens in the future, and I believe it will go to one league eventually. It's got to go to one league eventually, and hopefully when it goes to one league, that will be the start of the revival of British Speedway. That's my belief anyway. And the other one I think could be involved, should be involved in it, who did a very good job in it when he was doing it for many years, Chris Van Straten at Wolverhampton. Always had a good approach towards it all, and I think Chris Van Straten, being as a complete and utter neutral at the moment, they could do worse, but they won't, because they want to keep it to themselves. Will your man, Nick, Rob Godfrey, and your people that's involved at the minute, they'll want to keep it to themselves. But to my mind, your people like Matt Ford, Chris Van Straten, they're the men it needs to be looked at, spoke to, and see which way British Speedway needs to go to move forward. Because in 27, we could have a big problem, because tonight's guest, Tom Brennan's got an hard choice then, hasn't he? He's only going to, if Poland keep to what they've done, they've threatened all this before, but it may not happen. But if it does go to one league apart from Poland, we will lose quite a few riders. I am sure of that, as everybody is, because you can't blame the boys for wanting to go to Poland. Tom Brennan, Dan Thompson will go, Cooper Rushton will go. They will all go, and they've got to go. You cannot blame them, because they will earn good money. Let's hope that Poland's still good and they pay them all what they say they're going to pay them. Because as you have already heard, quite a few riders are still owed a bit of money from Poland. So it's not all that rosy over there, but let's sort our league out first. Let's sort British Speedway out.
I've never felt so inadequate in my life. I'm going to semi-stand to be in the same level as you guys. It's interesting, Nigel, you mentioned 2 or 3 things there, so let's just touch on some of that. So Matt Ford coming back into British Speedway, I hadn't expected that. That was news to me, but a pleasing thing, I think, to read, because Matt's got a reputation. He's got such experience. I think he was very influential, or he has been in the past within British Speedway, and maybe once he gets his feet under the desk for another season, that maybe he could yet be that influence once again within the corridor of power, or whatever the phrase is. Interesting that Cooper Rushton, who we spoke to last week, has now announced that he is going to race in Poland. I think he's signed to Leszno in the under-24 league in Poland. So, Robbo, we already said this last week when we were talking to Cooper. 2026 is already going to be an enormous season for everyone involved with Cooper Rushton. But in addition to Kings Lynn and Poole in Britain, he's also going to step into Poland, Robbo.
He is, yes. Big step for him, and great for him. As good luck to him for that. A lot of planning because he's got to get from country to country, and he's got to have engines ready. He's got to have engines serviced. He can't fall behind on services and things like that, because he's going to have to look ahead, sort of 3, 4, 5 weeks maybe, and say, right, yeah, I'm going to be using this engine here, that engine there. It's done. They've done 3 meetings, 4 meetings, 5 meetings, whatever it might be. So it's and it needs service. I used to do around about 20 to 25 races, not heats, not meetings, 20 to 25 rides between services on my engines. And I assume it's something similar now with the guys. I don't really know. So I mean, depending on how many rides you could have, obviously he can have up to 7 rides a meeting. He could end up, servicing engines after sort of 3 meetings. It's a lot of planning, and obviously the travelling involved as well. A lot of travelling, whether it'll be driving or flying or what, I don't really know. I would imagine there'll be a couple of drives and some flights involved as well. But he's obviously got to get equipment moved around out there as well. So again, planning again. So yeah, good luck to him. He's gone in the right direction, and I hope he continues doing that. He'll do well, I think.
I'm sure he'll take it in his stride, Robbo. That certainly is how he comes across as being, quite confident in his own ability, etc.
I think Derek, He's 16-year-old, isn't he? The pressure won't get to him, will it? The pressure will be on like his dad, his mum to arrange flights.
Yeah.
That's where the pressure will be.
That's true.
Cooper at 16-year-old will just go along with whatever he's told, won't he? I think.
Yeah.
They'll tell him you're on a flight to so-and-so. He'll get on that flight. He'll just go and ride his bike, won't he, Cooper? I think. Am I right, Stuart?
Yeah. You're probably right there, to be honest, Nigel. And the other thing is, he doesn't drive yet. So he doesn't have to drive to meetings yet. He's going to be getting driven. He's going to be chauffeured around as well. So, yes, at that age, I didn't feel pressure. So I assume it's going to be the same. He doesn't come across as the type that looks to feel pressure.
Yeah.
A bit like Tom tonight. I mean, the only pressure you put on yourself. So, and both of them don't seem to be putting pressure on themselves. They just take it in their stride. They get on with it, and they just sounds like they both really enjoy riding the bikes. And then
I think the pressure is the people behind them, isn't it? To make sure that they get to them meetings, to make sure that the engines are right for them meetings. That's where the pressure then hands over from the rider to in Tom's case, to like Craig Cummins and such like. He'll be the one with the pressure on him, won't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. It's especially if they're sort of Craig's Tom's manager. I assume that's the sort of role he's taken behind him.
Yeah,
and there's a lot involved in that, and he has to get it right, because if he gets it wrong, that's a big mistake, and he has to get it right. I mean, to go back to Craig, he's got a lot of experience. So
Craig's been around donkey's years. Been around donkey's years, Craig. Seen it all before. What a great bloke to have around him, isn't he?
Definitely great person to have in your team, absolutely.
Just make sure, Cooper Russian, if you're watching, if you're looking in, to keep on top of your homework, young man. That's equally as important as your
amazing, isn't it? We're talking to Cooper last week, and we're talking about him flying off here, flying off there, driving here, driving there to meetings. And then he tells us, he'll do his studying for his exams while he's driving or flying to meetings. That's how much pressure he feels he's under. He doesn't, does he? The pressure will be, in Cooper's case, so it sounds like his mum and his dad. And fair play to them, they will handle it, I'm sure. And Cooper will just go and ride his bike.
I'm sure he will. I think for me, just to reflect, the news that came out from the AGM, as far as the Premiership was concerned, I think it was pretty much as we expected. Although even that was actually quite good news, because not so many weeks ago there were some real concerns and question marks over just how many Premiership clubs were going to come to tapes in 26. Well, that was certainly the concern amongst supporters. Premiership fans out there, if you're watching, if you're looking in, share your thoughts. Are you relieved at the your club has actually confirmed they're going to come to tapes? Are you a bit disappointed that there might only be 5 clubs? There's still this prospect of the elusive, mysterious 6 clubs. So fingers crossed that
that's not going to happen, is it, Derek? A 6 club? That's not going to happen.
I honestly don't know, Nigel. I honestly don't know.
Nah.
Why mention it? Why mention it if there's no prospect of it? But anyway,
they mention a lot of things and nothing happens, though, don't they? I think this year is just going to be a year of plodding along, and then hopefully 27. Let's hope we can move forward in 27, and let's hope your man at Glasgow, I forget his name. What did he call your promotion at Glasgow?
The Percenters.
Yeah, them people, your Matt Ford, they're the successful ones, aren't they? They've been very successful. You've got to look at them and take on board what they're doing, and hopefully it will come. I think 27 we might start to come. Let's hope we come. Start bringing the kids through and start coming better, and British Speedway starts building up from 27. Well, I think 26 will be a bit of a so-so year, but 27.
Let's look forward and enjoy 26 first of all, Nigel. There's lots to look forward to. I think once the season starts and the racing gets underway and the fixtures start coming, I think a lot of what's happened over the winter will be forgotten. And people will just have to embrace the racing, and some of the teams that have been put together in both leagues look pretty tasty to me. But the only real disappointment for me, and I'm talking about Championship now, not Premiership, is the relative lack of fixtures. Because if you have for the teams at the bottom of the league who have a poor season, they're not going to have too many more than a dozen home fixtures in the whole season. And to me, that's pretty poor. I would have wanted many more, but again, we don't understand what the rationale for not having more fixtures. Is it cost saving? Is it trying to prevent clubs from losses? Who knows?
Selfish, Derek. Selfish. The first division and the second division, I've said it many times on here, there's such a huge gap between the first division and the second division. There always has been. Whether there always will be, I don't know, but there has been such a massive gap. The first division have really not wanted to know the second division. And I can go back to my time years ago at Glasgow. The second division was a lot stronger than the first division, but they wouldn't mix in with them. They wouldn't mix in. They did for 1 year, but they didn't play by the rules, really, did they, the first division? They didn't want to, they still wanted their way.
All I'm going to say, Nigel, is, and I'm not, you know what I'm alluding to here. I'm being a little bit cryptic, and I apologise out there for being so, but there's lots of things that we would like to better understand in terms of the thinking and the rationale and the justification and all that good stuff, the relationship between Premiership and Championship. If everything goes to plan, then next week we might be able to get underneath that a little bit with a guest who we're hoping to speak to next week. So I won't reveal the names just yet. I just want to make sure that's going to happen. But fingers crossed, there will be a very interesting interview on next week's episode of 360 Speedway. Robbo, I wanted to ask you something. Nigel mentioned it earlier, and I absolutely agree with him. So, for a number of weeks, for a number of months, supporters, the majority of supporters, not everyone, the majority were calling for a unification of the leagues. Well, let's have one league. If that meant going down to 6 rider teams or whatever, so be it. And I know that wasn't maybe as straightforward a prospect as it sounds, but and Nigel said this, and I tend to agree with him. In your opinion, Robo, has British Speedway missed an early opportunity to change the direction, freshen up the product a bit, and maybe extend the fixture calendar by choosing not to do that in 2026?
Yes, definitely. There's obviously got their reasons for doing what they're doing. They don't seem to let anyone know what the reasons are. And it is the lack of fixtures. The last however many seasons, clubs are going 2, 3, 4 weeks without a home meeting, and it's just not good. I don't know what the reason for that is, but is it intentional, or is because surely they could do an A and a B fixture if it isn't intentional, if they want more fixtures. So why don't they do that? Or why don't they bring the leagues together and have 10, 11 teams, 12 teams, whatever it works out to be, 14 teams? Why don't they do that and have more fixtures? And again, they could run an A and a B fixture, and for the league, or why don't they do it? You can't be going 2, 3 weeks without a home meeting. You just can't do it. If you only ride in England and in the British League in Britain, then your meetings are so few and far between. You're then going out to ride against people who are riding 2, 3 times a week still, and you lose your edge. You don't get it. It makes it extremely difficult to go out there and race against riders who are racing 3, 4 times a week still. The other thing is, it's the financial side of it. It's basically like a part-time job now. And when I was quite fortunate, I was fortunate enough to do it as a full-time job for a number of years after a while. And then it was a whole meeting every week. It was every now and again there wasn't one, but they were pretty rare when there wasn't a home meeting. And especially when I could ride in 2 leagues, then I was riding sort of at some stages I was riding sort of 4, 5, 6 days a week, and it was brilliant. And that was just in the UK. So why they can't bring it back to have more home meetings and the more away meetings in the UK, then I don't know why. But I don't know if they're just bending over backwards for Poland, because the riders are saying, Poland is saying we run Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday now. So if we run and you can't run, we've got choice over the riders. And you can understand the riders in a way for going to Poland, because that's where the bread and butter is. That's where they're earning. it's a short career.
Yeah.
You've only got a limited time, and you need to earn as much money as possible in that limited time if you want to be successful. And Poland is the place to go for that. But yeah, we're kind of bending over too much for Poland, unfortunately, I think.
It seems to be, we have this sort of feast in the famine. I remember Simon Lambert saying on a previous episode that, I can't remember last season, the season before, but one month he had like 3 fixtures in the whole month. The next month he had 17 fixtures. How can you reason with that sort of scheduling?